Hi. Did I ever see myself being censored? Heck no. And for what I was reading, definitely not. What I was reading was not hateful. I was censored for hate speech on Schmick Schmock. It was very apparent that it had everything to do with the material content. So what I'm going to do is bring it over here. And I will continue to spread this information. So I'm just going to jump right in. I don't feel like there's much else to say. This is a real learning experience, guys, right here for you. We're past the point of no return. 2019 was really that point. Nothing's ever going to return to anything pre-2019. And the longer that we wait, the shorter the rope with which we will be hung gets, okay? If you do not know any of this stuff, I really feel for you. I actually almost envy you because to go back and live in that mind space would be amazing. I'd love to. However, I can't. Once your eyes have been pried open, you just can't close them. You can't. It's like seeing something that you can't unsee. So, let's begin. This first section is all about how we need toxic relief from our life. And this isn't talking about toxic people. However, I'm a full-on advocate for cutting people out of your life that no longer serve you. So if you need help with that, feel free to reach out about that too. This book was this is supposed to be a book of encouragement and genuine hope for us as humanity. Humanity has done this time and time again, and we've reached the same outcome each time. So, we all know that the definition of insanity is repeating the same cycle the same exact way and expecting a different outcome. At some point, we have to interject the cycle and say, enough is enough. We're doing something different. I was telling people on the live that it is absurd. Even if we just talk about the colorants that are used in the United States that are illegal. That's right, illegal in other countries because of how harmful they are to our bodies. So, let's get into this, and I hope that you guys can take something away from this. This first little section it's gonna talk about, you would think that when they build like new buildings or when your house is freshly clean, that's when you're germ free, right? Nope. Germs actually do not like dirty places. They love to thrive in clean places, which is why the hospitals are always so cold, because germs and bacteria cannot thrive in a cold atmosphere. There are some, however, now that we're melting the ice caps, that can. However, the majority of the ones that we are used to can't. So, if you think you're safer because your office building is new, I hate to have to be the one to inform you, but you couldn't be more wrong. Volatile organic compounds such as benzene, styrene, carbon tetrachloride, and other chemicals are as much as 100 times greater in new buildings compared to the levels found outdoors. Think about that. The levels inside that fresh new building are higher than the ones that are outside. Lovely. New buildings are the worst. Building materials emit gases into the air through a process known as outgassing. New carpets release formaldehyde. If you don't know what formaldehyde is, look it up. Paints release solvents such as toluene and formaldehyde. And furniture made from pressed wood, which is that crappy stuff that nobody really likes but everybody can afford. Yeah, they release formaldehyde into the air as well. Additionally, outgassing may also occur from fabrics, couches, curtains, carpet padding, glues, and more. Mind you, this book was written in 2001. Now that we are approaching 2023, I can almost bet your bottom dollar that that statement is more true now than it was in 2001. And it was probably more true then than it ever was. So, the many chemicals released through outgassing from carpets, paints, and glues can become so strong that those who work in these buildings can get really ill. Well, obviously, you're not supposed to be huffing paint, guys, so stop that. When a building's indoor pollution level rises this high, you are more likely to become ill with sick building syndrome. Sick building syndrome is defined as the occurrence of excessive work or school-related illnesses among workers or students in buildings of recent construction. With time, however, these toxic levels gradually decrease. High amounts of volatile organic compounds can also be found in offices. That's right, volatile organic compounds. These compounds are emitted from copying machines, laser printers, computers, and other office equipment. Have you been experiencing headaches that get more severe at work? Are your eyes itchy, red, and watery? What about a sore throat, dizziness, nausea, and problems concentrating? These are just a few of the many symptoms associated with sick building syndrome. It also does not help that you have those beautiful fluorescent lights beaming down on you. They contribute to these symptoms. Other symptoms of sick building syndrome include nasal congestion, shortness of breath, problems with memory and concentration, fatigue, and itching. Weird. In addition, carpet glues, as well as particle board, which is also made from glues and chemicals that contain formaldehyde, commonly cause both fatigue and headaches. I would imagine that something that is meant to preserve the dead would cause a headache and would make me tired. It's for the dead. Are you breathing in bacteria, mold, and yeast? I don't know. I probably am. Are you? Find out. Sick building syndrome is not only caused by new materials. Airborne mold, bacteria, and poisons given off by yeast can also cause sick building syndrome. Many people remember the mysterious deaths in 1976 of 182 Legionnaires who were staying at a Philadelphia hotel while attending a conference. Actually, I don't know anything about this. It was later determined that this group of people contracted pneumonia from Legionella bacteria that had contaminated the hotel's air conditioning system. Before this event, occurrences of sick building syndrome were virtually unheard of. Nevertheless, many, if not most, air conditioning units and heating systems contain some amount of mold. Significant amounts of frequently found in them, and the spores from that mold can travel throughout a building. That's actually the biggest breeding ground for mold and bacteria is the air conditioning ducts. Think about it, guys. Bacteria loves to grow in warm, dark, moist places. Get your head out of the gutter. But seriously, so that's actually a perfect breeding ground for bacteria and mold. And just think about when you kick on that system, where's it? It's just flowing. It's just flowing in and out of those vents. And yeah, you can get filters, but if you're not spending a lot of top dollar money to get nice, fancy filters, most of these particles are just flying straight through them. Nevertheless, I already read that. Mold grows wherever dampness is found, which makes air conditioning units incubators for it. Like I just said, perfect breeding ground. Damp homes not only breed mold, but they also breed dust mites. Dust mites are the most common airborne allergy. When my doctors told me in probably 2020 that I was allergic to grass, dust mites, and pet dander, I asked them where was I supposed to go to get away from that. I was supposed to live in a bubble. This part right here, this is where I started over on Schmick Schmuck. This is the part where I realized, because when I found this book, I did not immediately start reading it. It actually sat on my shelf for a while. But then I opened it to this part, and this made me realize what I had in my hands. This is pesticide pollution. Dampness is not the only danger to a healthful indoor environment. Dangerous indoor pollution is also created with the ever-increasing use of pesticides, which can be found in some really surprising products. Believe it or not, pesticides can be found in disposable diapers, shampoos, air fresheners, mattresses, and carpets. I want to know why there are pesticides, though, in air fresheners. Here's the thing, though. Bacteria, they defecate just like we do. Matter of fact, the smell when something goes rancid is the gases that bacteria are putting off. So it makes sense why, it might make sense, but it's not really something that they should be doing, putting pesticides in air fresheners. Alright, let's continue, guys. You're being exposed to pesticides every day. You may even have your home sprayed regularly with pesticides to control bugs. The most common pesticides in use today are a variety called organophosphates. This group includes diazinon. Pesticides are easily absorbed into your body through contact through your skin, by breathing them into your lungs, and by ingesting them through your mouth. When I was younger, I would sometimes breathe through my mouth. I try not to do it so much now, and this is why. Because I swore that whenever there was a temperature change, and I could sense that in my mouth, that I was breathing in germs. And it was almost as if I was hyper aware at that moment that I was breathing in germs. So if you're a mouth breather, just think of the surface area that you have opened yourself up to breathing in pollutants versus my 2 nostrils. Mouth breathers. Ugh. Okay. So, even though your body is designed to eliminate the dangerous poisons, the sheer amount of them that you encounter daily is far more than your body was ever designed to deal with. Therefore, pesticides, their metabolites, and other dangerous toxins eventually build up in your body over time. And the greater the buildup, the more difficult it becomes for your body to eliminate them. When such a residue of pesticides builds up in your body, you can begin to experience the following symptoms or diseases. Now, this is where my mind was blown. I did not know that there was a direct link to the two. Memory loss, depression, anxiety, psychosis. Think about that one. Other forms of mental illness, Parkinson's and other forms of neurological degeneration, possibly hormone-sensitive cancers such as breast and prostate cancer. That possibly is probably more of a fact now. I'm going to read this. I can't be selfish about this. Are you being forced to inhale secondhand smoke? Another powerful offender is cigarette smoke. The smoke from a burning cigarette, as it sits lit in an ashtray, contains a higher toxic concentration of gases than what the smoker actually inhales. Secondhand cigarette smoke contains cadmium, cyanide, lead, arsenic, tars, radioactive material, dioxin, which is a toxic pesticide, carbon monoxide, hydrogen cyanide, nitrogen oxides, nicotine, sulfur oxides, and about 4,000 other chemicals. Cyanide and arsenic and lead. I'm still going to smoke my cigarettes, but you guys shouldn't be standing near me when I do. It said it was harmful for you guys, not me. Do as I say, not as I do, please. Please, okay? Nicotine in the cigarette smoke is the main cause for the cigarette addiction. However, nicotine also constricts blood vessels and stimulates the cardiovascular system and the nervous system. One of the main dangers involved with cigarette smoke is caused by the cancer-causing substances and toxins found in the tars and smoke. It's 2023. Everybody's well aware that cigarettes are just cancer sticks. It is what you want to do. I'm not here to tell you what you should not be doing. Actually, I am, but as far as your little guilty pleasures like smoking cigarettes or having a drink every now and then, moderation is key. Do I think that you should be smoking one cigarette back to back every hour? No, you should not. And as far as secondhand smoke goes, obviously, if you don't smoke, I would not suggest standing near someone who is smoking. If you are afraid or worried about any of the effects that these toxic chemicals have on your body. Some of this information in life is a little bit of give and take. I really want to enjoy my life down here as much as possible. But, there's this thing called people here. And some of these people make it really hard to enjoy anything. So, smoking a cigarette, if that's the least of my problems at this point, I'm going to smoke my cigarette. Leave me alone. All right. Toxins in our food and land. This is very funny. because there was a lady who I ran across her video last night, and she was talking about how she drinks dirt every day. One of my biggest fears on this spiritual journey of mine is that I wake up one day and realize that I am eyeballs deep in the cult. And that I end up on a documentary somewhere saying, I really genuinely thought that we were doing good for people. Okay, so, I don't know. Research. Do your own research. If you feel like you want to, there is such a thing as called pica. Normally pregnant women experience this, but it can be experienced if you just have a general lack of a mineral or vitamin in your body. There are natural ways to replenish your body with minerals and vitamins other than buying them off of the shelf, because and that's a whole nother video, but just do your research, guys, okay? Don't find yourself in a cult. All right, pesticides continue to be sprayed onto our land, subsequently making their way into our food supply. As we eat pesticide-tainted fruits and vegetables, and especially fatty meats, pesticides become stored in our fatty tissues, which not only include our adipose tissue, which is your fat. Adipose is fat. But also the brain, the breast, and the prostate gland. Every year, approximately 1.2 billion pounds of pesticides and herbicides are sprayed on the crops in America that make up our food supply. And I think, a reminder, this was written in 2001, or published in 2001. It's been 22 years, 21 years since. The farmers who work closely with these chemicals are at a greatly increased risk of developing certain cancers, especially brain cancer, prostate cancer, leukemia, and lymphoma. Studies on farmers reveal that as our exposure to pesticides and herbicides is increased, so is our risk for non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Here's part of the problem, guys. I don't know where this began, but I do know, and I'm guilty of it, but I've stopped. I've really dug my heels in the ground over this. When you grow, especially if you start your own garden, you're going to realize this. Especially when you don't use pesticides and herbicides, okay? You're going to realize that some of your vegetables, some of your product that you get out of your garden, it's not the prettiest. And people just expect to have the most beautiful, the biggest. I blame this on like cooking shows. Swear to it. They're like, look how beautiful this basil is. I mean, I did have some beautiful basil this year. Basil. I just love basil. Say it like that, basil. But they want you to believe that your food is supposed to be egregiously overgrown and shiny and beautiful. Real home gardeners know that's not the case. You get some beautiful produce out of your garden. God, yes. But there are times when some of the material that you get is not beautiful. It has dents and bruises. It has these brown spots. And so that is where the increase of pesticides and herbicides and all these other chemicals gets brought into the These people don't know how to drive. And they're making uncomfortable eye contact with me. Like it's my fault. I'm parked. So this is where the majority, no, where all of the chemicals that get sprayed onto our crops come into play, because of the expectations and the demands of the general population on what their fruits and vegetables they think they're supposed to look like. It's an unrealistic demand, to be honest, and that's how you get vegetables and crap that are full of toxins. Forwards. Some of these dangerous substances are known to last for hundreds and even thousands of years before breaking down. DDT is an example of a chemical that does not break down. It was used in this country on a large scale from the early 1940s to 1972. It is an extremely dangerous poison that was banned in 1972 due to its devastating effect on wildlife, causing multiple abnormalities in the eggshells of many birds and deformities of reproductive organs of many other animals. Bald eagles, condors, alligators, and other animals developed deformities, and their populations decreased dramatically. Nevertheless, DDT residues are still present in the bodies of practically all Americans. DDT belongs to the class of pesticides known as organochlorines. Many of these have been known to cause cancer and birth defects. They are also stored in the body's fatty tissues. In 1962, environmentalist Rachel Carson wrote a book called Silent Spring, which demonstrated the toxic and deadly effect that DDT has on our food chain. Carson warned us that if pesticides could have such harmful and dramatic effects on animals and birds, then their effects upon humans would be no different. Nearly 40 years ago, this insightful woman actually predicted the global consequences of environmental pollution in her eye-opening book. Despite the ban of DDT, it still found its way into our soil and our vegetables, especially root vegetables such as potatoes and carrots. There are over 600 pesticides used in the United States. However, the Environmental Protection Agency has named 64 pesticides as potentially cancer-causing compounds. Let's see here. I don't want to send you to a there's another book. It says, for more information on pesticides in our food, please refer to my book, Walking in Divine Health. Maybe that one will find its way to me. As I stated before, all of us here in the United States have residues of DDT or its close relative DDE in our fatty tissues. Tragically, even though many of these extremely dangerous toxic pesticides were banned for use in the United States, manufacturers are still permitted to export them abroad. This is what I'm talking about. We can acknowledge the fact that something is harmful. We can prove that it causes XYZ amount of problems, or that it is linked to XYZ cancers or deformities, birth defects, so on and so forth. But we can export it to other people. We can use it in other things. Forget that it's harmful. Just use it this way. We send these poisons to Mexico and other third world countries for their crops, and then import foods tainted with them back to this country. If I could scream. Tell me you are stupid without telling me that you are stupid. Should I reread the sentence? Dairy products are one of the main sources of DDT in our diets, and freshwater fish is usually tainted with DDT and PCBs. Let me tell you something. That Fairlife milk, if you use milk at a relatively quick rate, I was all for this milk until one day I realized that I had had this milk in my fridge for well over a month, and it still hadn't gone bad. And I looked at the date, and it wasn't set to expire for another 2 months. This milk has so many preservatives in it, I'm not sure that it's milk anymore. And if you open it, it could be fresh out of the store, fresh off the truck. I don't care. When you open up this milk, you have to put your nose into the lip of the thing, the bottle. It smells of death inside. It smells like someone shat inside that container, and then bleached it, mixed it with some other stuff, and then put it on the shelves. I would not suggest drinking it. Pesticides have been linked to lower sperm count in men and to higher amounts of xenoestrogen in women. Xenoestrogens are chemical counterfeits that fool the body into accepting them as genuine estrogen. So we have fake estrogen running around. That's not funny. Don't take me serious sometimes, please. Dear God. Shut up, Morgan. These estrogens are more potent than the estrogen made by the ovaries. When this occurs, a woman's hormones can get way out of balance, leading to the symptoms of PMS, fibrocystic breast diseases, and potentially endometriosis, period. It can even have a stimulating effect on breast cancer and endometrial cancer. That's not fair. It's already hard enough to be a woman. And the fact that they are putting stuff in our food that makes us more... That's not fair to anybody. It's not fair to us. It's not fair to anybody who has to deal with us. It's also not an excuse either, ladies. Get a hold of yourself. Go eat some chocolate. I like chocolate. Waxes that don't wash off. No doubt you've tried to wash off a shiny red apple or a dark green cucumber, only to find that it was covered with a layer of waxy film that's nearly impossible to wash off. Yes, I have. Growers do this on purpose. Thick waxes are applied to nearly everything we buy in the produce section of our grocery stores. The wax keeps the produce from dehydrating by sealing in water and also gives vegetables more eye appeal. If I put wax on my face, will I be more appealing? Oh wait, I probably do when I wear makeup. Let's see here. How I lost my place that fast. It's not like they're tiny words. Let's see here. Fruits and vegetables that have been waxed look bright, shiny, and healthy. Most of these waxes, however, contain powerful pesticides or fungicides that have been added to keep the food from spoiling. These waxes are made to stay on, not wash off. Nevertheless, if you want to stay healthy, remove them. You can make your own veggie wash by taking 4 cups of white vinegar to 1 cup of water. And I think there's some baking soda in there as well. You can look it up. And that's basically your own veggie wash, okay? It's very important that you wash your vegetables. You ever like put broccoli under the faucet and the water just beads up and falls off? It's because it has wax on it. Wax on, no wax off. But you can get that wax off if you can. They make special veggie washes, but don't waste your money. Make it yourself. I know that convenience is something that we all enjoy, but that is the very problem with us right now. Convenience has led us to 99.9% of the problems. Where did I get those percentages from? My head. Am I good at math? No. Should you trust me? Yes. I'm being serious though. I can laugh at myself. I personally do not have the science to back this. Could I find it? Yes, I could. I could. Will I find it? Not for YouTube. Not for YouTube. I do have a class though that I run. So if you're interested in that, where I go into percentages and real information, science-backed information, not just my opinion, please reach out. Pesticides in animal feed. I feel like we really don't even need to read this. I'm going to, but everybody knows. I feel like everybody knows. They're pumping our animals that we eat so full of pesticides, antibiotics, and steroids. When I worked for a company that worked for Purdue Chicken, think about your average size chicken, okay? And you probably can't, because the breasts that you get in the store are almost as big as my face, okay? And that's because the bird that it came off of is bigger than my head. And I have a pretty big head, okay? Those chickens are pumped so full of steroid growth hormones and antibiotics. It's not even funny. They can't even walk. They break their legs trying to stand. Also, that you can have bigger breasts. Yeah, you know what I'm trying to say. Not only can heavy concentrations of pesticides be found in the fruits and vegetables we eat, but they are also in animal feed. Therefore, our meat supply ends up tainted with pesticides too. Pesticide chemicals accumulate in the fatty tissues of the animals we eat. When we bite into a fatty piece of steak, a greasy hamburger, sausage, bacon, or even butter and cream, we are ingesting even more pesticides. I'm sorry if I'm ruining meat for you. I'm ruining it for myself. Meat cannot give us energy. And it doesn't. Think about it. When you ingest that beautiful ribeye, I love steak. When you ingest that alongside with a healthy serving of carbs, what are you going to go do? Yeah. You're going to go take a nap after you're done eating. And that's because there was nothing in that plate that could give you any energy. Now, if you had eaten a plate of vegetables, you wouldn't have gone to sleep. You would have had energy. You would have given yourself the reserves that you needed to get through the day. Whatever. I'm on my journey right now to eliminating meat out of my diet. Is it hard? Yes, because I really do. I love bacon. Pork is bad for you. Pork is really bad for you. There's a documentary in my head that's never left. I don't even remember when I watched it. It was a very long time ago. It has never left my head. It lives rent-free. If you want to continue to eat meat, please, by all means do. But it goes on later in here to tell you that you shouldn't be eating lots of meat, and that the meats that you do eat should be very lean, free range, yada yada. I'm gonna be very contradictory tonight. I'm gonna go eat filet mignon that I bought on sale. I can be bougie, whatever. Like I said, I haven't quit completely. I'm in the process. I haven't figured out how to make tofu taste good yet. Okay. And soy is actually not good for you anyways. I'll have to find the science for that one too. So, as we continue through this book, there's going to be a lot of things that you're going to realize that you're going to need to change if you want to do better. Because the thing about knowing better is that after you know better, well, then you have to do better. You don't have to, but what's the point of knowing better that just kind of makes you a horrible person. If you know that if you know more and you know better, and you don't do anything, then what are you doing? But this video was not made for me to place any judgment on you or how you run your life. If you want to go eat hot dogs for the rest of your life, by all means, eat hot dogs. But we all know that that's just butthole and lips. Everybody knows that. And if you don't, now you do. Fish sticks. Don't eat fish sticks, please. Of all the things you could eat. And you know what? Fish is probably, if the water was okay, not contaminated, that's something we're going to get in the next video, is how contaminated the water is. But fish is a good supplement for red meat. I like fish. But fish sticks are not the same, okay? That has a lot of other things. It's about the equivalent of chicken nuggets. If you could choose McDonald's chicken nuggets over going home and frying up a chicken breast, the healthier option is to fry the chicken breast. So if you had to choose between fish sticks and some sort of fresh fish, I would suggest that you go with the fresh fish. Do what you want. Don't listen to me. Do listen to me. Follow, please, though. Subscribe. Because this channel is going to be dedicated to sharing information that I hope will help you to make more educated decisions. Okay? If we want this world to be a better place, even if it's well understood that it won't be a better place for us, but it will be a better place for maybe our grandchildren, that is a big sacrifice to make. One that we should all be happy to make too. I'm just imagining that. So, until next time, remember, everything in moderation. Don't stand downwind from somebody smoking. Try not to use too many air fresheners. Might just have pesticides in it. Peace.